So there's a few things I want to cover in this video. One is what happens when you go to the special top floor after you reach Abyss. What secrets do you unlock? But then also the fact they've kind of nerfed Amitoi expeditions with this new change, particularly for people still trying to catch up in the game. And finally, this time around, the Lucky Mystic Portal event is a pretty big flop. They've went and heavily nerfed the loot tables on the items that you can get through the treasure bags and chests. So first of all, I just want to clarify what happens when you want to go back to older floors to get all your rewards and what exactly happens when you purify. So basically, you're only going to be able to purify once per day. And this allows you to reduce some of the greed in your orb, allowing you to complete more stages to claim more rewards. So in my state, I would have to purify in order to recover greed. As you can see, you're able to select all the previous floors, but it will set you to tier 1 of that floor. So yes, I have the possibility of going back to all the previous floors, but I will obtain only a certain amount of greed back depending on how low I go. For me, I'm just going to reset it with Abyss, redo this again, getting the relic analysis crystals here. The rest is whatever. And that's also an unfortunate thing. It was actually impossible for me to go back and obtain every single reward because of the amount of greed required. Every floor still costs 50 greed to clear, despite already having obtained the breakthrough rewards, and it only puts you down to 1,400 points, and claiming each reward is going to take up 100 greed, so I didn't have enough greed to actually get everything here. So yes, that is what you do if you're missing rewards. Make sure to purify to be able to get that greed back, but you have to be aware you're put back onto floor 1 of the section you're in. So for me, that was the Abyss here. I could optionally go back to Twilight, get those rewards, Dusk, Dawn, but I'm not going to bother. Finally, I want to show you what happens when you go to the mystery floor and how you can ultimately get all of these Tower of Greed achievements and the secret achievement. One of the achievements is just to obtain the unlock stones here. You get Master of Greed, which is just 10 points. The other more interesting ones is completing the entire tower solo, and you get Flying Solo title, and simply clearing the final floor gives you the Chaos Chaser title, so I can claim both of those. Unfortunately, none of them are looking special, like the Calanthea titles. Even my Roundtable Veteran title is not a special color. But now we go on to the next floor. This is the question mark one. Spoiler alert. Personally, I expected this to be something epic, maybe a big final boss fight. But no, you end up in this part of the tower, wondering what to do. I climbed all the way to the top. There's this star relic here, an orb. You go in the circle and some text shows up. This is actually text we can translate from the code that they gave us a while back. But we can also take this orb and descend back down the tower. You get to the middle section and there's this different text on the floor. And finally you get to the bottom section and there's this text. You can't see the text if you're not within the orb area. And so that's all there is. Just this text. Many thanks to this guy who translated it. And it simply says, "Is she alive? Bystander. I am alive." I don't know what that means. The guy also puts a link to his PowerPoint, which does cover a lot of other hidden things and Easter eggs spread throughout the game. There's quite a lot actually. And simply revealing all of the text gives you this achievement, which gives you the Witness title. And that's it. I'm finished. Completely done with the tower. Nothing more. No epic finale. No spectacular cutscene. Just like the rewards, underwhelming. But moving on to Amitoi expeditions. You may have noticed the amount of abyssal contract tokens you're earning is significantly less than before, and the fact you will only get those contract tokens by doing certain missions. All the rest of them here simply give you some other materials, and the amount that you gain is massively reduced. You used to obtain at least 80 of them per hour. Now we can see, with an expedition of 5 Amitois, we're only getting 80 total. And that that took 11 hours to complete. As this post highlights, it's a massive nerf in terms of those Abyssal Contract tokens. It means taking significantly longer to get your weapon mastery upgraded. Amitoi Expeditions was a pretty big way to get a big boost, so you could do more farming with them, getting the loot drops and ultimately the weapon mastery. But it's not something I personally have done for a while because, yeah, max weapon mastery, nothing left to upgrade on my build except runes, so it hasn't been a priority. Just spent my time doing other stuff. So for me personally, it's whatever. But it is something to just be aware of. I'm not sure why they made this big rework and effectively nerfed the rewards. There was, in my opinion, no real need to reduce the amount of contract tokens, unless they're preparing for a future update where they become more valuable. But they do at least give us the option to get a few more contract coins, which is kind of nice. Now, having set out all my Amitois on 3 different missions, this gives us 253 out of 999 points for the boss, which is kind of cool. That means 3 more sets of expeditions and we can already go and challenge this boss and get some extra pouches. But with that said, actually getting Amitois and the special ones is now a ton harder. They've removed them from the Lucky Mystic Portal event. The whole reason why this was a good event, they just got rid of it. They ninja nerfed it. Now this was clear when you looked at the Korean patch notes, but if you were looking at the global patch notes, they misled you, saying that you could still obtain Amitoi's morphs from these Lucky Mystic Portals. But when you actually go and do them, you find they are never dropping. And that's because when you look at the event guide for the Korean server, they've changed the loot drops. They no longer give those morphs and Amitois, just your upgrade materials, and a tiny quantity of them at that. No longer can you get those field boss Amitois, those field boss morphs. Gone. This is a massive nerf to the event, and anybody who missed out on the previous runs of the event is going to basically not be getting those Amitois and morphs. It is just really weird to me. Why are they doing this? Nerfing the rewards to Amitoi expeditions and also this event. Like, what are they thinking? The player base is at an all-time low. We should be awarding newer players who join, helping them catch up, not just making it harder. As some of you pointed out, yeah, maybe the developers are just out of touch and don't understand why this amount of rewards here is not exactly worth the time and effort that it takes to get them. Maybe they really just don't know their game. It's like they're balancing rewards for back in phase 1. This coming February, we can't expect much. As per Tico talks earlier, the only thing happening in February will be Battlegrounds added to Wargames for guild competition. And we'll have to wait until late March before we get anything new to do, with 2 new co-op dungeons, a new gear slot, a new Battlegrounds map, and potentially a new Battlegrounds mode. This easily could get pushed back later than late March all the way to April, but we'll have to see. Ultimately, a lot of people are just maxed out and kind of bored what to do. Yeah, you can go make different builds and stuff, but you will get pretty stuck on the heroic items. The amount of materials needed to max those out if you want different ones with different stats. And I'm not even sure if it's worth spending those materials. You could be best off at this point hoarding unlock stones for that new gear slot that we could be getting in March. Hoarding those extract stones for that and conversion stones. So yeah, a bit of a lull period from now on the next 2 months, I'd say. A special thank you to the support of my channel members, and we'll see you in the next one. I'll let you know if there's anything new.